Welcome to Paranoia Unveiled. Today we are going to discuss about the 9/11's truth movement. A movement that is rooted in the belief that the US government has concealed the true nature of the September 11th attacks. It's a swirling vortex of alternate theories and counter-narratives, challenging the mainstream account of that fateful day. This movement has given birth to a multitude of conspiracy theories, each one more intriguing than the last. So buckle up and get ready as we delve into these theories. The first theory we'll discuss is the controlled demolition theory. Now, what does this theory propose? It's quite riveting, actually. This idea suggests that the Twin Towers and Building 7 were not toppled by the impact of the planes that struck them. No, this theory argues that they were brought down by something far more calculated, a controlled demolition. Picture this. According to proponents of the controlled demolition theory, the Twin Towers and Building 7 were rigged with explosives prior to September 11th. The planes, they argue, were merely a diversion, a smokescreen, if you will. The real cause of the collapse, they maintain, were these strategically placed explosives that were detonated in a manner that would cause the buildings to fall into their own footprint, much like a professional demolition job. These theorists often point to several key pieces of evidence to support their claim. Firstly, they argue that the speed at which the buildings fell is consistent with a controlled demolition. They also point to the presence of molten metal found in the wreckage, which they believe could only have been created by high-grade explosives. Additionally, they highlight the symmetrical nature of the building's collapses as further proof of a planned demolition. Now, this theory has been met with a great deal of skepticism and criticism. Critics argue that this theory blatantly ignores the extensive evidence of the plane's impacts and subsequent fires causing the building's collapse. They contend that the plane's impacts damaged the structural integrity of the buildings and the fires weakened the steel support columns, leading to a progressive collapse. The controlled demolition theory is certainly one of the most debated theories surrounding the events of September 11th. It's a theory that continues to fuel discussions and investigations even after more than 2 decades. Critics of this theory argue that it ignores the extensive evidence of the plane's impacts and subsequent fires causing the building's collapse. So, what do you think? Could there be more to the story than what we've been told? Stay tuned as we delve into other theories in the next segment. Next up is the Pentagon missile theory. This theory is one of the more controversial postulations within the 9/11's truth movement. The proponents of this theory assert that a missile, not American Airlines Flight 77, was the true cause of the devastating impact on the Pentagon on that fateful Tuesday morning in September. Let's delve a little deeper. The advocates of this theory point to several key pieces of evidence. Firstly, they state that the hole left in the Pentagon was too small to have been caused by a Boeing 757, the type of aircraft that Flight 77 was. They argue that the damage pattern is more consistent with a missile strike. Secondly, they highlight the absence of large, identifiable pieces of wreckage at the Pentagon site. Critics of the official narrative assert that a plane crash of this magnitude should have left more substantial debris. Instead, they argue, the debris found was more consistent with the aftermath of a missile explosion. Thirdly, they question the skill required to execute the maneuver that the plane allegedly performed before hitting the Pentagon. They suggest that such a complex flight path would have been beyond the capabilities of the hijackers, lending further credence to their missile theory. However, this theory is not without its critics. Many have pointed out that there were numerous eyewitness accounts of a plane hitting the Pentagon. These witnesses described seeing a large commercial aircraft, not a missile, crash into the building. Moreover, while the debris found at the Pentagon was indeed smaller than what might be expected from a plane crash, it's important to note that there were plane parts found at the scene. Detractors of the Pentagon missile theory argue that this evidence clearly contradicts the missile claim. In conclusion, while the Pentagon missile theory raises some thought-provoking questions about the events of September 11th, it's a theory that remains heavily disputed. The lack of substantial evidence coupled with numerous eyewitness accounts paint a different picture. This theory has been widely criticized, with detractors pointing to the numerous eyewitness accounts and debris from the plane found at the site. Now let's turn our attention to the insider trading theory. This intriguing theory proposes that certain individuals privy to the impending attacks use this classified information to profit from stock trading. It's a concept that's as intriguing as it is unsettling, but let's delve deeper. The idea behind the insider trading theory is rooted in the basic principles of stock trading. When you anticipate a company's stock value will plummet, you can put yourself in a position to profit from this downturn. This can be achieved through what's known as short selling. This involves selling borrowed stocks with the expectation that the stock price will drop, allowing you to buy them back at a lower price and pocket the difference. But how does this relate to the tragic events of September 11th? In the days leading up to the attacks, there was a significant increase in short selling of stocks of companies that would be profoundly affected by the events of that fateful day. These companies included major airlines and insurance firms, whose stock values predictably plummeted in the aftermath of the attacks. This unusual spike in short selling led some to believe that insiders had foreknowledge of the attacks, and had used this information to their financial advantage. But like any good conspiracy theory, it's not without its skeptics. Critics of the insider trading theory point to the fact that the financial market is a complex beast, influenced by countless factors beyond the comprehension of most. They argue that the trading in question, while it may appear suspicious on the surface, was not entirely out of the ordinary. After all, it's not uncommon for traders to bet against stocks based on a multitude of factors, including political unrest, economic instability, and even the weather. So, were these trades an uncanny coincidence or a calculated move by those in the know? The jury's still out. Critics of this theory point out that the trading in question was not unusual or suspicious, but as with any good conspiracy theory, the insider trading theory continues to captivate, raising more questions than it answers. The last theory we'll discuss is the no plane theory. This is perhaps one of the most controversial theories surrounding the events of September 11, 2001, and it's exactly what it sounds like. The no plane theory posits that, contrary to what we all saw on live television that morning, no planes were actually involved in the attacks on the World Trade Center. Proponents of this theory argue that all footage showing planes hitting the Twin Towers was fabricated. They suggest that the images of commercial airliners were digitally inserted into live broadcasts and subsequent replays. The explosions, they claim, were caused by pre-planted explosives, not by the impact and subsequent jet fuel fires of Boeing 767s. Some even go further, asserting that the eyewitnesses who claimed to see the planes were either mistaken, lying, or part of the conspiracy themselves. They argue that the speed and altitude of the alleged planes would have made them nearly impossible to see in detail. To back these claims, they often point to perceived anomalies in video footage, such as seeming inconsistencies in the plane's speed or trajectory, or the way the buildings collapsed straight down, which they argue is more consistent with a controlled demolition than with a plane crash. Of course, this theory has been widely criticized. Skeptics argue that the idea of such a vast conspiracy involving the fabrication of so much video evidence and the complicity or silence of so many eyewitnesses is simply implausible. They point out that thousands of people in New York City saw the planes hit the towers with their own eyes, and that the physical and forensic evidence overwhelmingly supports the mainstream account. Moreover, experts in digital imagery have examined the video footage and found no evidence of tampering. They argue that the supposed anomalies can be easily explained by factors such as perspective, camera motion, and the unprecedented nature of the events themselves. This theory is widely regarded as the most extreme and least plausible of the 9/11 conspiracy theories. It's a testament to the lengths to which some people will go to question the official narrative, no matter how much evidence stands against them. In conclusion, the 9/11's truth movement has given rise to a variety of conspiracy theories. Each one, from the controlled demolition theory, to the Pentagon missile theory, the insider trading theory, and the no plane theory, presents a unique perspective on the events of that fateful day. The controlled demolition theory suggests that the Twin Towers and Building 7 were brought down by a planned internal demolition, not by the impact of the airplanes. The Pentagon missile theory, on the other hand, posits that a missile, not a commercial airliner, struck the Pentagon. Then there's the insider trading theory, which puts forth the idea that knowledge of the attacks was used for financial gain on the stock market. And finally, the no plane theory, which argues that no planes were involved in the attacks at all, and that the images we saw were merely sophisticated projections or media manipulation. These theories, diverse as they are, share a common thread: a deep skepticism of the official narrative, a thirst for truth beyond the surface level. Yet it's important to note that while these theories continue to circulate, mainstream experts largely refute them. They argue that these theories ignore the overwhelming evidence supporting the official account of the events of September 11th. Thanks for watching. Like and share. Subscribe for more videos. Have a nice day, thank you.